Town of Bole following bloody clashes fueled by chieftaincy dispute that left one dead and three with serious injuries.
Preoccupation now is to ensure that especially the shooting, doesn't continue.
We have details as residents closed shops and locked themselves indoors for fear of reprisals. And top story is always brought to you by Born. Your success are passion is also brought to you by Gasem Cement, the nation builder, Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready, and nationwide medical health insurance. Now, there is breaking news tonight from the northern regional town of Bole, where in the last hour, the Interior Ministry has imposed a dusk to dawn curfew. This follows bloody clashes fueled by a chieftaincy dispute. One person is reported dead and three seriously injured after gun battle between feuding factions during yesterday's Damba festival. Joe News is now learning residents have begun closing their shops and locking themselves indoors. Mohammed Hassan is a resident.
You went to court almost 5 years. They rule, you are not a chief. They give the other one, and the legitimate one, and then that one is caved. They have to do a funeral before swearing in. And then they are dancing, they have their own dancing, they call Damba Festival. They are dancing Damba, and then they heard the gun is tapping, yesterday night, around almost 1:30. And then this morning, the same thing. They burned 2 shops. Oh, mother, people are here. Oh, that's why. Some people, they haven't opened their shops. Most of them, they are scared.
Well, we have a copy of a statement issued by the Interior Minister a short while ago. My colleague Elton Brobe has that. Elton, what does the statement say?
Well, Evans, what we have is imposition of curfew on Bole Township and its environs. And it says that the Minister for the Interior has, on the advice of the Northern Regional Security Council and by an executive instrument, a curfew on Bole Township and its environs in the Bole district of the Northern Region from 6 p.m., that is in the next 27 minutes, to 6 a.m. effective today, Monday, 3rd December 2018. The imposition of the curfew follows the outbreak of violence in the town arising from a Bole chieftaincy dispute. Government is calling on the chiefs, elders, opinion leaders, youth, and the people of the area to exercise restraint in the face of the challenges confronting them, as well as to use non-violent means to channel their energies into ensuring peace. Meanwhile, there's also total ban on all persons in the aforementioned communities and its environs from carrying arms, ammunition, or any offensive weapon, and any person found with any of these will be arrested and prosecuted. This is signed by the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry.
And this came in just about an hour ago, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. fresh curfew imposed on Bole, and that's where we go next. Let's bring in Dome FM reporter there, Rebecca Natoma, who's been monitoring the situation for us. Rebecca, thank you very much for your time here on Top Story. It's some 25 minutes before the curfew kicks in at 6. Are there any visible signs on the grounds that people are preparing to observe and not be caught by the curfew hour? Hello, Rebecca.
Hello?
Yeah, so what do you see on the ground right now with 25 minutes to go before the curfew hours kick in?
Okay, for now in Bole Township, what I've seen on the ground is that people are doing their work up and down here and there, But regarding to the security at the Chief Palace, you have realized we have the security agencies all over with their weapons very tight. We have the fire service, the immigration officers, the police, and some armed force officers around just to make sure that there is peace in the town. But another source says, so far they are going to impose a curfew in Bole, and residents are very sad about the incident. Some are telling me they are very scared and they are running for their lives. They want to make sure they close their shops before 6 p.m. this evening. So for now, activities are going on well. There's a due to fear. Shops have been closed down. Food vendors have also closed. MTN vendors have also closed. Just trying to secure their life first. So for now, at the grounds, the place is very calm and all activities are very well.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Let's bring in the spokesperson for the Northern Regional Police, PRO, DSP, Yusuf Tanko. Mr. Tanko, I'm grateful that you joined us. We just got the confirmation from the Interior Ministry about the imposition of the curfew. And from what I understand, and if you can confirm this, that there's a significant deployment of military and police on the ground currently?
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a lot of
unfortunately, Mr. Tanko, let's try and get that line better established so we can hear what he's saying to us. We just can't hear him at all on this. We'll be speaking also to the Member of Parliament for the area who's taking a keen interest in what is happening in the part, also understanding what really is at the heart of what has led to the deaths over the last few days, and of course the imposition of the curfew. I have with me back the spokesperson for the Northern Regional Police Command, Mr. Tanko. Yes, you were talking about the extent of military and police presence on the ground tonight.
Yes, I was saying that we have a lot of police and military officers on the ground, and even we are sending more to augment their strength to ensure that we have total peace at Bole. And we also are ensuring that we protect innocent persons in Bole so that they can go about their normal businesses without any fear in their hearts as they do so.
And the curfew was imposed a short while ago, and I know the people, and of course through radio possibly people might hear that there's curfew. But how is the police trying to manage this because of the time that an hour ago people still need to know so that they can observe the plan and force a curfew? How is that going to be implemented?
Yeah, the curfew has not been communicated to me yet. But even in the situation where the curfew is imposed, the police and the military on the ground will ensure that people go to their homes and leave the streets of Bole. You know, if the curfew is given or is imposed on short notice, it's important that we become a little rational in the enforcement of that curfew. But that notwithstanding, we will ensure that people comply fully with curfew if it has been sanctioned.
So, give me a sense of what the police itself understands is the reason for this renewed tension and the clashes there.
You know, there have been a protracted chieftaincy dispute. One gate known as the Mandari Gate and another known as the Alhaji Abdullahi Gate. And recently, the funeral of the late Bole Wura was performed. And the Mandari family is a family that performed that funeral. And they followed it up with a Damba that was last night. In the course of the Damba, somebody allegedly from the other side fired into the crowd, killed one person, and injured two others. They also returned fire and hit one person from the other side who also sustained injury. The person who sustained injury from the other side, that is the Alhaji Abdullahi side, his injury was critical, so he was rushed to the Wa Government Hospital, and the two others too were at the Bole Government Hospital. So this is the background to the conflict. But you know, it has been on and off for about 1 month now, and we've been trying very hard to manage that situation till it escalated yesterday, resulting in death.
So far, in terms of casualties, the figure still remains as 1 dead. How many injured?
3 injured.
3 injured.
Yes.
This is happening at a time when you already, the security agencies there in the northern region, you have a lot on your plate. You are having to prepare for the funeral rites to begin as far as the Dagbon issue is concerned this week. And then this is also becoming an issue. Are you adequately resourced to deal with these challenges?
It is a very difficult challenge, but that notwithstanding, we'll be able to scale through all of them. For the funerals, we have made adequate preparation. Our numbers on the ground will not be enough. We have requested men from Accra and even about 100 of them will arrive in Tamale tonight. So surely we can get more men for Bole, and we can get more men to police the funeral. The 100 men that are coming are not the only men that are coming. More will be coming, and we will have enough men that we've requested from the headquarters, and they have given us the assurance that those men will be brought to augment our strength here so that we can discharge all those duties effectively. So we are assuring that we are prepared. We have done all the necessary arrangements that are supposed to be done so far as the funeral is concerned. We have a challenge on our hands at Bole, and we are not turning a blind eye to that as well. We are dealing with that as it's supposed to be dealt with. So we are urging the people of Bole to remain peaceful, to cooperate with the security agencies as we go about our duty of protecting lives there, and nobody should take the law into his hands. If the curfew is imposed, everybody should respect the curfew because this is for the general good why it has been imposed.
On the Bole conflict that led to 1 dead and 3 injured, have you made any arrests so far?
So far, no arrest has been made. We've not been able to identify exactly the persons who shot because it was in the night. That notwithstanding, we would try and investigate and try to identify those people so that we arrest them for them to face the full rigors of the law. Our main focus now is to try and ensure that there is peace and security on the ground at Bole. If we are able to do that, then other things will surely follow.
You've talked about the police reinforcements you're getting from Accra. Are you getting some additional reinforcement from the military as well?
I will not be able to speak to that, but I know a lot of police personnel will be brought to the northern region to help us police the various activities that we have here.
And just yesterday, I think yesterday, yes, there was another incident. I think in Yendi where a chief was apprehended. Subsequently, we understand that he was installed as a chief in the part of the town there. Has that situation been managed?
Evan, no chief was arrested last night or yesterday. What happened was that because of the 2 funerals that are coming or that are coming off at Yendi, DISEC directed that no chieftaincy-related activity should go on till the funerals are performed. So this chief belonging to a community died, and so his funeral was performed, and his son wanted to be enskinned as the next chief. So he was advised that there's a lot of tension surrounding that particular chieftaincy issue. So he should hold on till the issue was resolved and the funerals performed. But he defied the orders or the directives from DISEC. So DISEC informed the RESEC, and RESEC directed the security men on the ground to go to the chief's palace and invite him for RESEC to have a dialogue with him. They went there. They told him RESEC wanted to meet him. If he were ready, they would assist him to get to Tamale and meet RESEC. He obliged, and so he was taken to Tamale. He spoke with RESEC and then went back. So it wasn't true that a chief was arrested. The chief was invited, and he voluntarily followed the officers to have the meeting with RESEC.
So this situation has been successfully diffused, correct?
Yeah, it has been already diffused. There's no tension. There's nothing surrounding that particular issue.
I'm grateful, Tanko, for joining us. He speaks for the Northern Regional Police Command. If you're just joining us tonight, our breaking news we're following for you. The regional town of Bole. There's a curfew that has just been imposed on that town in the last hour, and the statement has been signed by Ambrose Derry as the Interior Minister. As you heard, that the police themselves have not been formally communicated to as far as this curfew is concerned. But in the next 15 minutes, the curfew will kick in, and the military and the police presence on the ground will have to enforce this curfew. And as you just heard the police say, because this has been imposed on short notice, they will have to apply a bit of tact in enforcing the curfew, because people, if they're not listening to radio right now, will not know that this curfew has been imposed on the town of Bole in the northern region. But that's what just has happened as far as the clashes there that left 1 person dead, 3, we understand, are still in hospital fighting to hold on to life. Let's bring in security analyst Adams Bonner, who has been following the situation in the northern region, particularly in the lead up to this all-important funeral, the first one coming off this weekend. Mr. Bonner, thank you for your time here on Top Story. This is a pretty tough time, and the police officer we just spoke to speaks for the police command in the northern region. He admits that it's a significant challenge when they are preparing for the funerals as far as the Dagon chieftaincy issues are concerned. Now we're having Bole also boiling. Curfew has just been imposed on short notice with 15 minutes to go before it kicks in. And as just been confirming, there was a situation yesterday morning where somebody had to be arrested again because of a chieftaincy matter. He says that has been successfully defused. When you put all this together, this is a significant security challenge, not only for the northern region, but the national considerations as well, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And good evening to your cherished listeners. For me, I mean, curfew, yes, is the right thing to do to put in place in a situation like this, the Bole township. I drove through Bole last Monday at dawn. I went through Bole from, Wa. I drove through Bole into Accra. And it's a very peaceful town. And so this dawn, my phone rang and the source there asked me to listen to sporadic gunshots. And I thought it was a festival being celebrated. So I kept asking what was it. And he told me that the town was in turmoil. And I told him, so what are the security details? And he told me, they are yet to respond to the chaos that was unfolding. But, I would want to put it across that it is a failure on the part of the intelligence community in the country. National security, I've said it repeatedly, seems to be sleeping because what happened yesterday when the sub-chief, we are being told, was invited. But if you review the video, it was an arrest where, his followers resisted. And then what is happening in, the Bole township, we are told, this issue has gone to court and then there's a court ruling. And so the expectations are that once there is a party that is in disagreement, and we know, the way some of these chieftaincy issues can spill, out of order. One would have expected national security to put men on the ground to melt into the Bole township and make sure that they have information with regards to what could happen. First of all, was there the need to celebrate the Damba festival? Definitely, people fire, guns here and there. People do all sorts of things during these festivals. And so I'm thinking that we need to be calling the national security into question, the BNI into question, because then the police would only come in as they are doing at the moment, because then they are plain clothes and they have to ensure that law and order is brought to, the community in cases like this. But national security would have made sure that we had prior information about what was going to happen in Bole Township to in fact, inform RESEC and DISEC that this is what is going to happen, so let's make sure that nothing happens. The eminent chiefs who have negotiated, who are mediating in the Dagon crisis, have a roadmap, and we have a curfew in Bole Township. And so you can just imagine, we are a few days away from, what the roadmap, getting rolled out. And we already have disputes here and there. And so, I think that we need to be asking a lot more questions of national security, what they are doing. We have a national security minister. I think that we've had enough of the national security not doing what we pay them to do. So let's call them. What are they doing? What are they doing? At the moment, the northern region is overstretched in terms of security. And so
as we just heard from the police, as we just heard from the police, they have requested for reinforcement. They're getting 100 well-armed officers, come in the next few hours to beef some security. I'm pretty sure they're getting military men also, reinforcements coming in. It appears that there's a significant focus on the northern region, especially going into these funerals. The question is, and you've made the point about how the security appears to be stretched in the region, but it raises the question with all that is happening, the funerals though, and which is really the main event that is most security analysts, yourselves, and the security apparatus the country will be watching. what should happen in terms of managing the current situation, one in Bole and others that we know existing flashpoints already, so that there's those satellite conflict areas doesn't spill into Saturday or this weekend when the funerals come. That is a key thing going forward, is it not?
Yes, I believe that there could be a fiat from, I don't know, national security, from the presidency, from somewhere to say these funerals from flashpoints, these festivals at flashpoints should be stopped until such a time that the roadmap is fully rolled out, and we have the Dagon crisis probably come, we see finality to it.
And you make an important point about giving a fiat to stop it. And the last question I asked Tanko points to one such example. Yesterday, an individual attempted to sort of perform the funeral rites of his late father, who was a chief, and he says the man defied the orders of the Regional Security Council and had gone ahead to try and do this, and the police had to be sent in to bring him to the Regional Coordinating Council. He obliged, by the way. And I know yesterday a lot of people had gathered trying to find out what was happening. He explains the man wasn't arrested, but subsequently the man was installed. That is sort of challenge they're having to face. That there are directives, and people seem not to be respecting the directives.
Well, the point is that we are a democracy. The last time I checked, we are ruled by laws. I mean, we are ruled by laws. And so anyone who lived during the coups, you get up in the morning and there is, dusk to dawn, or the, 6 to 6 curfew, and everybody goes to sleep, the whole country. And so I'm just wondering, the northern region is 1/10, in terms of regional division, 1/10 of the 10 regions we have. And so I want to believe that if there is a fiat that says that there should not be, celebrations of festivals and, burials and all that are supposed to be stopped, I believe that people would have to obey. But once we are treating some of these people with kid gloves, then we are going to have, situations like this, unfolding. And so for me, why invite him if he is advised not to do it? And he does that. Why do you invite him? I'm just thinking that the security apparatus, we need to probably make sure that the law enforcement agencies, together with national security and probably the presidency, they need to do a bit of setting up to ensure that the northern region is able to see to the rollout of this roadmap. Until then, there shouldn't be any form of celebration in terms of funerals and all that. Or if not, Evans, you can imagine 100 police officers are going to the north. So what then happens to the rest of us who are not in the north? What then happens is that probably we are going to have shortage of police officers who probably are supposed to be manning the security of the other 9 regions. And so for me, any more of such incidents, and I think that we need to call into question, the respect in terms of those who are managing the security up there in the north, the northern region. We need to call into question if we should have any of these incidents again. I think too many of them, we've had enough.
I'm grateful that you joined us. Adams Bona is the Chief Executive of the Security Warehouse Limited. And this is what we're watching for you closely as we build into the major funeral this weekend, as far as the Ndani and Abudu issues are concerned. That, of course, everybody is hoping for a peaceful ceremony in Yendi, to be very specific. This has been Top Story, always brought to you by Gasem Cement, the Nation Builder, Vodafone, the Future Society, and Ready Born Financial Services, and nationwide. Boy,